Welcome to Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidates interviews, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Maria Spinozzi, and I would like to introduce Angela Jenkins, running for Alder from District 15. As we begin, please tell our viewers a bit about how your educational, vocational, and civic experience has prepared you for the position and why you decided to run for Alder.
Hi Maria, thanks for having me here. So my background, I have a background in science, and I studied information technology and have certifications in project management, process improvement methodologies, and leadership. In my career, I have been a research scientist, and in managing really complex research and development implementation to technology systems implementation, not just within a specific site, but across the country and internationally as well. So I've had experience in collaborating with and working with a large, diverse group of professionals in getting the job done. Civic experience-wise, I have been very involved in my children's school, as well as the neighborhood in which I live. I've served as the neighborhood association president for the last 3 years, and also served as currently serving as the board of directors for Oak Brook Botanical Gardens, and recently having been invited to serve on the board of the River Food Pantry.
Madison's efforts to address chronic homelessness have appeared to fall short, especially with regard to providing sufficient support systems for a housing-first approach. What ideas do you have that might create greater success for projects such as the one on Tree Lane?
The Affordable Housing and Housing First program are, interrelated in my opinion. Homelessness is continue to be an issue, but part of the root causes is really having to do with stability and having access. And by access, I mean access to affordable wages, not affordable, sorry, to living wages. And having access to affordable housing. As you know, the housing prices in the city continues to rise, and that makes it even, unaffordable for those of us having, in a single income or dual income households. That being said, I would like to see more emphasis in job creation and development of a robust and comprehensive transit system to ensure that our Housing First program participants have the ability to not only have the stability of living in a home, but also having the ability to get to their jobs and learn and earn living wages to be able to support themselves.
The Madison Police Department has been faulted for not having appropriate policies and training around de-escalation and use of force, especially with regard to people of color. What is your perspective on whether any changes are needed in the ways Madison police operate in our community?
I think the way I see it is that there needs to be additional community and collaborative effort across, the community and the police and the Madison Police Department admin staff. I think professional development training is always a key factor, and not just in law enforcement, but across all sectors as well. I think that, continued collaborations with the community members, as well as an outreach to other departments and cities, and to learn and gain some insights in terms of what has worked for them, what's been successful, I think would really put us in a good position in terms of some improvements in that particular area.
There is a perception that Madison's story is a tale of two cities, one in which people of color are less likely to experience success. What can be done to ensure that Madison is a community in which all people can thrive?
Being an underrepresented person myself, and who's also in a relationship where I am raising two minority children, that is something near and dear to me. again, I would have to say the emphasis on community and collaborations. It is key that, if we can come together and truly learn from each other and listen, and to understand what some of the challenges, issues, and struggles are, I think that will, again, put us in the right place and in which that we can move forward. The issues are complex, and there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution for them. But I do believe that, in the power of community and really coming together and working together with the common goals and wanting to eliminate or even to remediate the disparities that we're currently seeing in the city.
What issue have you identified as being of primary concern to the residents of your district, and how would you approach tackling it?
There really isn't a key issue, but I think the one is probably surrounding growth and infill development. In the downtown area, the square, the capital area, we have been experiencing and seeing the tremendous growth in the past 10 years. And the growth is now coming, or at least growing into out to the vicinity of the city. And that's definitely something that's very prominent in the district, in that we're beginning to see proposals for large scale development for affordable housing, or just development in general, where it's been historically been a small, urban residential community. So I think, again, making sure that the neighbors are involved in the process, understanding the goals and objectives of the development, and really the overall stake in what that means in terms of the change and what it's bringing to the community would be important. So for me, really, I think it's about, making sure that the neighbors are engaged and that they feel that they have a true seat at the table to be able to voice their concerns, and working with the developers and the city staff to mitigate those risks and concerns.
The relationship between the council and the mayor appears at times contentious. Is this a problem, and if so, how would you improve the relationship?
I think it's a matter of perception. I think part of it is I think having healthy discussions it's good. We don't want unanimous or consensus in all of our discussions or problem solving, because diversity in terms of our opinions and viewpoints are extremely important. But overall, I do feel that at the end of the day, the council and the mayor do have the interests of the city and its residents at the top of their priority, and therefore I think as long as we could focus on that, having a discussion, a healthy discussion, whether it's pro or against a particular problem, it's reasonable in my opinion.
What changes, if any, should be made in how the city approaches major projects such as Judge Doyle Square and the public market?
And I think that similarly to what I have mentioned earlier, I think it has to do with the voice of the people in terms of, what the question I would ask is, what kind of city do we want to be? And well, we should start from there. So the city had launched the campaign of Imagine Madison, which I feel was a wonderful opportunity for its residents to participate in, because it drives the goals and objectives and the planning for what the city should become as we continue to grow. I would like that same concept to be utilized in this situation, and so that, again, the citizens really have a say and in terms for how they want the city to be and what type of development that the residents are able to support to ensure its continued success and overall sustainability of these development proposals.
What council committees do you want to serve on, and why?
I have my eye on the Sustainable Committee, as well as the Community Development committee as well. In terms of, sustainability is one of my platforms. I do want to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place and that to better plan for the future in terms of, its infrastructure and the continued goal towards using renewable and clean energy in 2020 or 2025, based on the goals that were set forth by the committee. Another one, the community services, the community development committee, it's also one that I would like to learn more about and participate in because it is one of the committees that provides or is in charge of the funding for services for our youths. Such as the Madison out of school time, etc. And again, I like to see, how I could be an advocate for the youth of our city and ensuring that they have the access to other programs that are available when they are not in school.
What would you like to say to the viewing audience as we complete this interview?
I have been active in the community and in working towards making the life better for my family and the community by bringing people together. I believe in collaborations and the diverse voice and viewpoints are welcomed, and that in order to truly solve any problem, we have to work together. However, we also need to have the respect and enable for those discussions to occur so that we could actually listen and learn from our experiences and apply those in our problem solving. So that said, my experience is also unique. I didn't grow up in the States. I grew up outside of the country. And I will be able to bring some of that diverse viewpoints in terms of what it means to be a first-generation immigrant living in the city, and also one who's raising a biracial or multiracial children in the city and in this environment where there are definitely some contentious at times in terms of what that means for those of us who are underrepresented. So that said, I hope that I will continue to earn your vote and vote for me on April 2nd.
I want to thank Angela Jenkins for speaking with us and the viewing audience for taking the time to know your candidates. Please vote in this and every election. On behalf of Madison City Channel and the League of Women Voters of Dane County, I thank you for joining us.